insane. Crumbling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names? Broken future, shattered dreams.
Hello friends, this is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, May 6, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. I hope I got the bugs sorted out. We are on, let me just check the Rumble right now. I think we're good live on there. The integration with Restream software that I'm using is not working, so I can't see your guys' chats going on through here, but it looks like we're streaming on there. So thank you for joining us as we work through. Yeah, I see it. We're streaming on there. Welcome, Rumble. Sorry I can't interact with your chats more readily. I'll circle back, as Raggedy Ann would say at the end of the show, and try to catch up on the chats and Rumble. Thank you all, you Weaponized News hounds, for joining us. A coin phrase by me, but stolen by Ruckus. No, it was actually him that came up with that great Weaponized News hounds. All right, friends, what do we have today? A lot. The international banker Mark Carney went to Washington, D.C. to see Trump at the White House. We got some highlights of that meeting. The end of the show, which will not be aired on the YouTube because we're still shy of reporting on the bats over there because they're so strict about it, so we won't even go there because we're complying by their community guidelines. So the end of the show, we're going to do some wrap up on what we learned this last week about the whole bat problem that shut down the world and the like that we know of, the medical intervention period. So those watching on YouTube, if you want to follow us over to Odysee, Rumble, Bitchute, one of these other platforms, X, then we'll carry on with our medical intervention reporting and what's transpired here this last week. We'll get China's take, America's take, and Weaponized News take about what's really going on with all this. Looks like they're closing the books on it, trying to. I don't think we'll ever close the books on it, honestly, but we'll give you an update about that at the end of the show. So yeah, what is happening over here? Yeah, international banker, former Goldman Sachs banker, former Bank of England banker, Mark Carney there in Canada. Democracy. So you just have straight. I think I like that better, actually. Trump's like this, reality TV show actor, real estate mogul guy. I'd rather just have a straight up banker like Canada, honestly. I mean, there's no denying straight up criminal, right? No denying about Trump either, but it's a little more in the shadows. And apparently America likes the absurdity of it all. Like our thumbnail, the thumbnail that I created is to illustrate the absurdity. Let me just put that on screen for those that missed or you didn't get to see the thumbnail. And then we put in some seriousness as well there. But here's the thumbnail to illustrate the absurdity that is Trump, Carney. FIFA announced World Cup today. And in this absurdity, gala dinner. Trump's going to be charged a lot of money for that. That's real too, by the way, posted by Trump. And then the serious news, looks like India and Pakistan are kicking off a war here right now. So that has just happened last couple hours today. We'll get into that. India launched Operation Sindoor, which was aimed at hitting terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan. And then I saw some reports that Pakistan is claiming they shot down Indian jets. So is it another one of these? Well, it's a ceasefire. Well, yeah, they're shooting at each other. It's called a war. Nobody wants to call it that. Looks like we're heading into a war there. We got reporting on that. Both have nukes too, by the way. So kind of concerning. Maybe are nukes even real? Something's real about it. They can blow the hell. They can blow the hell out of everything. If it's nukes or not, with the fallout, you know what I mean? Does it even matter? They can make they can firebomb the hell out of everything. We know that. So I guess the only question is there really, the radioactive fallout that we're all supposed to fear? I think that's really the only question I have about it. Because we know they can carpet bomb and level entire cities in short order. So we got that to report on. Very concerning. India, Pakistan is heating up. Supreme Court allows Trump, trigger warning, Supreme Court allows Trump to implement transgender military ban. We'll go to that report. Some viewers may have to, cover their eyes and ears for the trigger that it may cause in your social justice wokeism. So fair warning. Got a little chart, nice little handy chart the AP put out here tracking, as we reported the entire time, of all of Trump's executive orders, where they stand on legal action, as almost all of them have been challenged in court. And so we'll go over that a little bit, maybe to give us a reference point about where are we at in this executive dictatorship? Where the hell is Congress? They passed one law. I don't know. They don't do much. What else do we got today? So apparently Trump says we're done bombing Yemen. They pled for peace, something like that. We got the quotes from him. We got the video. And then in short order, Aardvarks pick up the bombing. So is there any difference even really at this point? Bombing the hell out of Yemen. We're in a war with Yemen. Where's Congress? We got economic news. Tell your kid this Christmas, hey, Trump's the Grinch that stole Christmas. Mattel toy maker CEO says toy manufacturing won't come to America, but price hikes will. I don't know. It's hard to know and tell, I guess, unless you're actually at the ports. Can we trust the lying Mockingbird media? No. Can we trust Trump? No. Can we trust the government? No. We can't trust any of these actors. It's being reported global shipping is grinding to a standstill. It's a matter of time before America feels it. Barron's reports, can we trust them? No. I don't know. You know what I mean? CNN, we definitely can't trust them. But I don't know. Do they tell the truth? Maybe they got the memo about YouTube. They said, you'll boost our video if we hate Trump. Well, you guys are already kind of doing that. I don't know. But CNN reports the first boats carrying Chinese goods with 145% tariff are arriving in LA ports half full. Expect shortages soon. Is that fear mongering? Scaremongering? I don't know. Is it reality? I don't know. Maybe somewhere in between. We'll get to those reports about the economy, other reports about it. The international news, more about Palantir, our good friends there. They're going to run our lives, the world, with their AI systems. More reporting from their CEO there. Aardvark news, a lot of Aardvark news. Just like, oh yeah, they're taking all of Gaza and all the occupied territory and carrying out ethnic cleansing. But hey, they're Aardvarks, so it's cool. And if you question it, then you'll probably see that Palantir Titan truck on your block. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'll just send a drone. They wouldn't waste the electricity to power their Titan truck. They'll send some drone to get you. all of that news, back and forth. They're alleging Aardvarks are caught off guard by Trump saying he's done bombing Yemen. I don't know. Oh. Okay. On this day in history of May 6th, we're going back to the year 1527. Spanish and German imperial troops sack Rome, ending the Renaissance. Charles III, Duke of Bourbon, is killed in the action. Ending the Renaissance? Kind of significant. Nah, who cares, right? 1541, a Bible for every church in England was pledged by King Henry VIII. Cares about you getting that Bible learning. In 1787, the first African-American Masonic Lodge, African number 459, forms in Prince Hall, Boston. In 1837, U.S. blacksmith John Deere creates the first steel plow in Grand Detour, Illinois. Very significant development in the Industrial Revolution. In 1882, U.S. Congress passes the Chinese Exclusion Act, halting Chinese immigration. We're still at it today with China. I think we have a message from their Chinese embassy challenging our CIA. We'll get to that later in the news. In 1910, George V becomes King of the UK upon the death of his father, Edward VII. In 1937, the age of the Zeppelins, German airship Hindenburg explodes into flames at Lakehurst, New Jersey, killing 35 of the 97 on board and killing one on the ground. Quite a shocking, horrific event there that put air travel back, well, forever for the Zeppelins. In 1947, Stalin becomes premier of the Soviet Union on this day. In 1945, World War II news, Axis Sally delivers her last propaganda broadcast to Allied troops. The first broadcast began on December 11, 1941. In 1960, Eisenhower signs Civil Rights Act of 1960. And did I delete it? I think I deleted it. I got to, hold on a second. Let me pull this back up because I was too lazy to write this one. So we got one more. And thankfully, keeping everybody safer, even though there's studies that show it didn't and hasn't and won't and can't keep anybody safer. It doesn't matter. They want you to not have a right to self-defense because our government cares about you. They continually say we care about public safety. So in 1994, on this day, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the federal assault weapons ban, all the time saying that they're keeping you safe. It's for your safety. The government can't and won't keep you safe. Never forget that. In 1996, is it 1996? 1996. Are we on the right day? Yes, we are. Are we? Yes. Sorry about that. In 1996, I thought this was significant. The body of former CIA Director William Colby is found washed up on a riverbank in southern Maryland 8 days after his disappearance. So that, like, they always say, well, you'll go on a canoe trip. They're referring to former CIA Director William Colby. In 1996, we covered that. 1997, another significant event. I don't know how true this is, but this is what they claim on our official history. The Bank of England is given independence from political control, the most significant change in the bank's 300-year history. And in 2002, Elon Musk founds SpaceX on this day. Okay, where are we going first? Oh, look, we have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy on the line with us as well. Let's go. What kind of segue can we give them? Let's give them our favorite politician here, Jasmine Crockett, as our segue. She's calling out the cosplay. Well, they're all cosplay. They're all actors.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a simple but clear message. First of all, I just got to clear up a few things. Instead of the president cosplaying as the next pope, he may want to try to cosplay as an actual president of these United States. That means that he may have to do a little bit of research and decide that he wants to understand that he swore an oath. And this oath was to protect and defend the Constitution. That is the oath that he was supposedly taking on January 20th, as well as we may want the president to look into what the Declaration of Independence was about. We may want him to understand that there was a foundational document as it relates to self-determination of those who had recently gained their independence from Great Britain. I would hope that he would maybe spend a few of these days in this first 100 days, and it is sad to say that it's his second term, that he doesn't understand that the Declaration of Independence is about this idea that we are entitled to the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that's...
There you go. A great orator there, Jasmine Crockett, Democrat out of Texas, District 30. Probably the greatest American politician alive today. Thomas, how you doing there from Alpha Mega Energy on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News?
Well, in a showing of freedom, why don't you just seize all those breakthrough energy innovators, just seize 4,000 of them and 6,500 or so of the other technology innovators? What could be more constitutional than that? Just seize them all. Amazing that she's talking about this. I mean, what the hell is she talking about? No point, of course, ever from these democrats. She doesn't even make a point, just talks this rhetoric like as if that's how stupid these people think that the American public and the rest of the international public are, that they'll literally just fall for a little bit of rhetoric. If she doesn't even make a point showing that he doesn't agree with these things. Of course he agrees with those fundamentals. What's even her point? There's no attachment to it. And it's always the same with these democrats. It's always manipulation, lies, spin, twisting, subterfuge. It's all deception, coercion. There's never a single honest anything that comes out of these people. It's all just a dog and pony turd show.
They're great representatives of the people, more representatives of the people here. Canadian banker, they call him a prime minister. I still call him banker. Old Mark Carney. We're looking for Masonic handshakes. I couldn't really suss it out. I think we have other video. Here's
didn't this guy marry his sister?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do know that he is an international banker. Let's see if we can spot a Masonic handshake here as Trump meets him at the meeting area at the White House.
Mr. President, are you close to a trade deal?
Canada, as you meet the new Prime Minister, sir. Do you think this federal cut into break?
Can't really see it, but it just shows how fake it all is. There was tough rhetoric back and forth. A lot of people say Trump's rhetoric toward Canada is the reason that the Liberals and Carney won the recent election. Now they're all good buddies. It was all just a joke on us as they continue to cook up schemes about how to steal everything we have. So
Yeah, it definitely had nothing to do with those selections machines. They definitely can't be hacked. The only machines that can't possibly be hacked and supposedly have never been hacked, even though, of course, the mainstream media showed them being hacked for 25 years in a row every single selection season after they're pissed off about the Gore thing that happened in Florida, Gore and Bush in 2020. But hey, 2020 for Trump? Oh, no. Forget you ever saw us cover that every single year of all of the hacking and the massive hacking scandals all around the world. You didn't see that. Look into the little light. Right?
I didn't see it. Don't be a J6er. Let's hear it now. We got a few clips of Trump and Carney. Today, was it President Trump to Mark Carney? Canada will never be for sale. Come on, man. I'm trying to buy you.
I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
That's what we need is more militarization around the world, and no one better but a banker to do it. Bankers fund both sides of every war. Never forget it.
Please.
Yeah.
Top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no, I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, how good, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of respect. He is a big, tough cookie, too. He just broke the record, and he's a great guy. And, we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
What about Barry Dutton? See, Barry, you can't be mean to Trump anymore because he wants to be your friend. Okay. Here's another clip. Here's another clip from the meeting today.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
See, Barry? Barry says, I'm never going to live this down. Canistan thing. Am I, guys? No. No, you're not. Here's Trump. See, and he doesn't like Trudeau either. Here's him talking about the predecessor, Trudeau. Like there's any difference between them, but here's Trump talking about Trump says he didn't like Trudeau.
I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know what I'm talking about. But we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal. And we ended it. We ended that relationship pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it. I won't say this.
Is he talking about Cynthia Freeland, I believe, there?
Yeah, Chrystia Freeland. who's anything but free land, obviously doesn't believe in a free land. Definitely not with her endless concentration camp construction campaign all across Canada, Stan, and making it look like the Bolshevik Aardvarks campaign to mass slaughter Christians throughout Russia by the tens of millions. Very interesting what was done there. And then not a peep since. Why the hell did they build all those concentration camps? Where did the investigations into that go? Still a lot of unanswered questions there. And what's going to become now of the massive number of RCMP investigations that were sidelined on Trudeau? And then they want to talk about corruption. There's been no government, maybe internationally, embroiled in as many corruption scandals. Certainly no G7 government seemingly embroiled in as well, though, I mean, there have been so many. New Zealand's had plenty. America's had huge numbers of them, of course, all of the COVID scandals, but massive bribery scandals in the Canadian government again and again and again with China, all over the headlines. I just quickly pulled up like 3, 4, 5 articles. I mean, they're endless. You could just do one internet search and find all kinds of them continuously. This guy here paid bribes 114 million Canadian and funneling it through laundering all of this money through banks. There's Canadian politicians on the Panama Papers, the Paragon Papers, all of these big scandals, money laundering through shell corporations, buying oil from Iran. Tens of millions of dollars, the Canadian government buying from Iran, a sanctioned company. So what a wonderful ally.
I'm sure it's fine.
They don't buy Alberta oil. I mean, forget about buying Alberta oil. Let's buy it from Iran, the terrorists of the world that they're all for bombing. But hey, let's buy the oil from them. How interesting goes the fraud shit show that they put on their TV, and now you have. Right, the Freelands, this banker who you notice that the Macron's now they're saying that Brigitte, interestingly enough, Candace Owens is saying Brigitte is literally the father of Macron.
I can't even go there with it.
I haven't watched the whole thing, but that's what she's saying, and she's the one doing the massive research. And
see, I'm more offended. However, these people whoever they want to sleep with, go have fun with it. It speaks to their moral character. Of course, they're corrupt, but people should be more concerned about the fact that they're bankers, because that right there, and especially Macron worked directly for Rothschild banking interest, and this guy Mark Carney worked directly for Bank of England, like that's where the shit show all starts right there. You know?
I've never seen, and I don't know, but I'm just gonna. Hey, we ran out of conspiracy theories. All 450 or so of them all turned out to be correct. They were not theories; they were actually being exposed. So I guess here's a new one. I'll just throw it out there. I've never seen a husband and wife in all of my life look more exactly the same in facial structure, bone structure, etc. than Mark Carney and his wife.
What is it?
I'm not a betting man, but I'll put $5 on this one that is his sister. I'll put $5 on it.
Well, they are into interbreeding, eugenics, exactly. Positive eugenics programs. That's what the elite are into. Right. So,
especially at the English banks, central banks.
Yeah. You never know. I wouldn't put it past them. Okay, let's hear now from international banker, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, now in a press conference after the meeting with Trump. We can't get enough of this guy. I know Barry can't up there in Canada.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Tana McCharles, Toronto Star. I was watching your face through the meeting in the Oval Office, and I wondered what was going through your mind when the President talked about erasing the artificial border and how he criticized your predecessor and Madam Freeland.
Well, thank you for your question. I'm glad that you couldn't tell what was going through my mind as that was going through. Look, with respect to the first point, the president has made known his wish about that issue for some time. I've been careful always to distinguish between wish and reality. I was clear there in the Oval Office, as I've been clear throughout on behalf of Canadians, that this is never going to happen. Canada is not for sale, it never will be for sale. Some things, as I said in the room, some things are never for sale, and he agreed with that. So I distinguish between the two, and then with respect to the importance of reestablishing a constructive relationship for negotiations of a partnership, of an economic and security partnership, which is what we were here for. I look forward, not back, and I think we established a good basis today.
But of course, it's been communicated that both the EU and the British Crown, right, and Prince Charles want America back. They want to buy America, right? So, and they were saying
Or
that
put it underneath the Commonwealth, something like this. I remember.
right, exactly. Put it back as another slavery dominion, as it was in 1770 era, right? So they've always wanted it back, and I mean, you could say that they've successfully subverted it through the Rothschild.
You could say they took it back during the War of 1812, actually, but and other incidents. Okay, let's continue. More about. We had Trump make a comment today about California. In California, a little train going from San Francisco to Los Angeles that's being run by Gavin Newsom. Let's hear from Trump talk about our high-speed rail, literally train to nowhere. It's quite a, and they're asking for more money for the high-speed rail. Somehow they think they're going to get private investors. I don't know how they could think they could get private investors unless there's some other kickback scam shenanigans going on, because it's already a big time loser. Let's hear Trump's comments today about the high-speed rail here in California.
In California, a little train going from San Francisco to Los Angeles that's being run by Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? He has got, that train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. It's like totally out of control. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. We'll stop 25 miles short. And we won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles short. It's hundreds of billions of dollars for this stupid project that should have never been built. And then they realized that it would have been a lot less costly if we just gave limousine service back and forth and gave it free. They would have saved hundreds of billions of dollars. They have airplanes that go there for one 1/100th the cost, and they have cars. They have a thing called the highway that goes back and forth that's not fully utilized. And they got involved with this project. And Gavin, you know, I always liked Gavin. Had a good relationship with him. I just got him a lot of water. You know, I sent in people to open up that water because he refused to do it. And we just got them a lot of water. If they would have had that water, and if they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have had the fires in Los Angeles. Those fires would have been put out very quickly. But if you think about it, and you got to take a look at this, it's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people build a lot of stupid things, but that's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen, what's happening between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And you ought to ask about that, because this government is not going to pay. I told our very great new Secretary of Transportation, he's doing a good job, Sean Duffy, I said, we're not going to pay for that thing. They are just, it's out of control.
He is right about that. I do agree with Trump about that. The high-speed rail here is out of control. Maniacs. Complete maniacs, criminals running it. Okay, tracking the lawsuits against Donald Trump's executive actions. We now have the Associated Press here. As we continue, we reported them all, I think, as many as we possibly could through the first 100 days. But you can see here agency cuts. And what's the little legend here? Agency cuts, if it's in red, it's partially or fully blocked. 72 of them. If it's in green, it's court left in effect 46 of them and pending 68 on agency cuts. So it's a battle right here to cut the different agencies. You could, again, the link for those that are really concerned about the size of government, you're protesting, you're pro-corruption, and you want to keep it as big as it is or even larger, or you're protesting the AI takeover of it, whatever it may be. The link for this will be on Weaponized News Substack. Birthright citizenship. So you got, partially or fully blocked. You can see in the red the different lawsuits. DEI. What's this one? Doge. A lot in court right now. So, or court left in effect. So it looks like Doge may have actually been the most successful so far, but still a lot of challenges pending. Elections, partially or fully blocked. And then one, Washington and Oregon challenge the election executive order. Federal funding. We can't even stop paying taxpayer money. How is this even a thing? I don't know. And where's Congress actually in the midst of all this? They should be jumping up and down and saying, hey, we control the purse, allegedly. But I think we're learning that may not be the case. Federal workers, immigration tariffs, transgender rights, and other. And you can see right there all the different. And if you go over the little box, it tells you the specific case challenging them in court for those interested in digging deeper. And it goes on and 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 on. And so is any of this going to be sorted out anytime soon? Probably not. Some of it was sorted out today, though, and it goes on and on. Nobody can say that they didn't hit the ground running in the Trump administration with blasting out these executive orders, that's for sure, as we got tired of covering them. But today the Supreme Court did side with Trump. Trigger warning. Let's go to this report out of NBC. Again, trigger warning. If you don't know what gender you are, cover your ears, eyes, nose, put on a mask, face shield, because this may be highly offensive to you. Let's go to Supreme Court allows Trump to implement transgender military ban. Yeah, if you don't know what gender you are, you might as well go get blown up. Well, they said you can't now. So this is actually good news, but call me crazy.
News for you tonight out of the Supreme Court. It will allow voters in Pennsylvania who sent mail-in ballots that were flagged as defective to now vote in person. This is seen as a loss for Republicans who asked the High Court to put on hold a state Supreme Court ruling from just last week. That ruling found ballots lacking secrecy envelopes are void. But stay tuned there because we could see more litigation for this in the coming days.
Well, that wasn't even the report, but it was. I don't know why they loaded that video on the headline. Anyway, that's shocking for those that love the election fraud. That was a trigger warning for that. But here is there's the headline you could see there, and it's reported other places. Supreme Court allows Trump to implement transgender military ban. That's actually good for them, but they call me crazy, call them crazy. I don't think they see it that way. Today, the United States Supreme Court allowed President Trump's policy banning transgender individuals from serving in the military to take effect while legal challenges continue. Of course, we want to go get blown up. It's our patriotic duty, don't you know? This decision overturns a previous lower court injunction permitting the military to discharge current transgender personnel and block new recruits identifying as transgender. The ruling has sparked significant debate with advocates for transgender rights, arguing it discriminates against service members who have already proven their commitment and capability. Well, if you're really an advocate for the rights, you would tell them, don't get killed in the military, but what the hell? Who am I to say? FIFA. Trump is trying to bring in, I guess, tourist sporting revenue. Yesterday, they announced the NFL draft in Washington, D.C. Today, and sports culture in America, sports ball is a big part of propaganda. President Trump but they're never going to get soccer to be popularized in America. I guess if they import 20 million illegals, then they're soccer fans. That could be the only way, but not with natural-born Americans, sorry to tell you. But they won't quit for trying. Trump on the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament. 48 national teams will compete in 78 matches right here in America. Let's hear from Trump about that. And he does love his gold statues and idolatry, and there's a lot of that involved in this as well.
Host the official 2026 World Cup tournament, where 48 national teams will compete in 78 matches right here in the USA. And that'll be something very, very different and very special. These events will attract millions of passionate fans around the world, including my son. I have a son that loves soccer. Barron. Nobody's ever heard of Barron, right? Have you ever heard of Barron? He's a good soccer player, too. He's a little tall for soccer, but that's okay. And over 1 billion viewers. You're going to have one of the biggest viewerships of any sport at any time. This will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to showcase the beauty and the greatness of America, and we can't wait to welcome soccer fans from all over the globe. I don't know if I'm supposed to say soccer or football, because every time I say soccer, Barron and Eric say you're really saying it wrong. It's supposed to be football, but we know it more as soccer. These events will also generate tens of billions of dollars in economic activity for local businesses and create thousands and thousands of jobs for American workers. I've directed my...
It's soccer. You're not tricking us here with your calling it football all over the rest of the world. We have American football and we have soccer, all right? And that's the way it is. During this press conference with the FIFA, reporter asked Trump, do you support Aardvarks' plan to conquer Gaza? Kind of not really appropriate, I don't think, for this press conference. But let's hear his reply to that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Do you support Israel's plan to conquer Gaza if Hamas doesn't agree to a deal during your visit to the Middle East?
These are very strange questions, aren't they? I never like when they read them off a machine. I don't know. Who's sending the question to you? And let's not talk about that now. We're talking about the World Cup. Go ahead. What else? Anything else? I think we're pretty well set. I want to thank everybody, and we're going to make this tremendously successful.
That is true. I do got to agree with Trump there. Like, he'll do a press conference about killing everybody later, but this is about the football, soccer. You know what I mean? Okay, so we got through that section. Oh, it's off the top ropes with your public education. We're celebrating Teacher Appreciation Day today. Let's hear from former CEO of the World Wrestling Federation, Linda McMahon, now running our Department of Education. It couldn't get any more clown world-less than this, but don't you worry, you're entertained and they're trying hard.
I'm Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education. We're celebrating our teachers all over America. And I would just like to talk about, a teacher that really had special impact on my life. And isn't it funny, after all of these years, I can still remember her very, very well. Her name was Mrs. Brown. And she actually lived across the street from me, and I babysat for her sometimes as well. But she was my French teacher. I loved her style in class. I thought she was funny. I thought she was incredibly impactful with all the students in the room. And she actually helped create for me a love of French. So I majored in French in college, and I wanted to be a teacher. I got my certificate to teach. Hey, life took me in a lot of different directions, but Mrs. Brown was a great influence on me.
Aw, that's a touching story. Happy Public School Teachers Awareness Day. Here's apparently Congress has taken upon themselves to do something. This week, the House makes it official, Gulf of America. This is posted by Speaker Mike Johnson, and the AP is still pissed off about this. So there we go. Gulf of America. Congress is making it official. Trump makes move to supercharge deportations using local cops. Well, he hasn't made good on his promise for mass deportations. Now he's looking to deputize local police. The Trump administration is taking major steps to supercharge deportation efforts by deputizing local law enforcement across the country to carry out immigration enforcement. A Department of Homeland Security memo exclusively states, the memo lays out that the Department of Homeland Security has signed 562 agreements with state and local law enforcement groups taking advantage of a federal law that allows agencies to enforce certain aspects of immigration law. While these sorts of agreements existed in the previous administration, the number of agreements signed since Trump took office has increased by 316% compared to Biden's 4 years in office. With an estimated, in this article, they say an estimated 18.6 million illegal aliens currently in the United States. I think that's even a low number, honestly. Okay, thoughts, comments, Thomas, on the news that we just blasted through there?
Yeah, it's a very strange week with all of these things going on, and you got people focusing on and of course the fraud news media endlessly with these cheap distractions, talking about the Pope and then redirecting onto FIFA and this kind of stuff. I mean, it's just, you still have this war going on. You have this issue with Putin. You have the Aardvarks bombing the hell out of Yemen nonstop, 24/7, and expanding this all over the place. In Iran, you have where is Trump on the Pakistan and India issue? I mean,
we got video, we got a soundbite of them talking about it. We'll get to that. Okay, continuing here, as we continue to report, the Palantir, our AI overlords that we just know and love, that we can't wait to have them run their Titan surveillance truck down our street. They have announced that Palantir Technologies, well, I'll put it on screen here so everybody can see. Palantir Technologies and Elon Musk XAI have partnered with TWG Global to leverage AI in the financial services industry. The collaboration aims to transform legacy processes, streamline operations, and unlock new market opportunities for financial service providers. This partnership focuses on developing and deploying AI-powered solutions, including Gronk XAI's AI model and the Gronk's Colossus supercomputer. Can't wait. And of course, that's all coming from the PayPal mafia. And so they've already set up these online payment systems, have experience, know what they're doing. And so expect great fun from the AI financial systems run by Palantir, where you're flagged if they see any anti-aardvark activity on the interwebs posted by you, or they'll just make it up and say you posted it. It really doesn't matter. So we have that to look forward to in our future. Chinese embassy has been trolling the hell out of the United States these last couple of weeks, specifically over tariffs, but many things. Today they post, now they're trolling right at the old CIA. And so Chinese embassy in America, in US, they say the US has long been using all kinds of despicable methods to steal other countries' secrets, interfere in their internal affairs, and commit subversion. The US not only maliciously smears and attacks China, but also blatantly attempts to lure Chinese personnel, even government officials, to be their informants. This is a serious infringement on China's national interest and pure political provocation. China strongly condemns it. We will take all measures necessary to resolutely push back infiltration and sabotage activities from overseas and defend national sovereignty, security, and development interests. And of course, this is in reply to that CIA recruitment video targeting Chinese in Mandarin Chinese that we played last week on the show. So interesting that they felt the need to publicly post that on the X. Any thoughts and comments about that, Thomas?
Yeah, it's again very strange happenings. The priorities are very disjointed currently. There's a very interesting economic news, very optimistic.
We'll get there. We'll get there next. We got one more clip about China, and then we're on to the economic news. Let me get this. This is Trump. What is he saying? This is about China. Trump's comment. We say President Trump not trading with China. By not trading, we're losing nothing. We're saving $1 trillion, he says. But the kids aren't going to have their $30 at Christmas.
And by not trading, we're losing nothing. So we're saving $1 trillion. It's a lot. But they want to negotiate and they want to have a meeting, and we'll be meeting with them at the right time.
But you haven't met with them yet.
I have not met with them, of course. You would know if I met. I'd tell you. They want to meet, but you know, we are right now. Look, they're suffering greatly. Their economy is suffering greatly because they're not doing trade with the U.S. and they made most of their money off the U.S. Don't kid yourself. They don't make the money off other countries like this, and they.
What do you think about that? There's just back and forth. China says that they don't care. They're laughing at the U.S. The back and forth about if they're even going to meet to have trade talks or not. China says they're not. Trump says they are. So what do you make of this? I don't know why they got to play this game.
Well, China's playing the game. They're the only ones playing the game. All the other 90 countries are right. They contacted the Trump administration immediately. It's only China who didn't. They're the only ones doing this. So they're playing the right, trying to pretend like they're the new kings of the entire world, and they don't trade with anybody, and they set the terms over everyone. I mean, it's
seems fair.
It's kind of psychotic. I mean, everybody else is willing to do business together. Only the Xi Jinping administration isn't, and is going to tax the hell out of everybody and run things completely corrupt and completely unfair and screw everybody else in the entire world over. And they're the only ones. So I mean, Trump.
Don't you have to basically, if you go do business in China, don't you have to basically give them access to everything, all your internal operations, essentially?
Well, if you're running any Chinese Windows in there, unless you actually import the American software, you're going to have that, and right, unless you import American devices and whatnot, and then you're going to have that too. If you're running any of their devices, it's also, you know, spycraft on everything, malware on everything, spying on everything. But for a lot of these companies to access their market at any significant level, they require you to do technology transfer. Smaller companies can get away with that in particular industries, but in order to be a major competitor, you start to run into these kind of issues. So they're very tight against that, and their entire culture and attitude and their communications to all of the business people at every level in there is you are expected to do technology transfer. There are sometimes you don't necessarily have to do that, but they will do everything in order to, right? I mean, they're endlessly institutionally hacking American companies and have been doing that at every level. And they send people, and I've been to many government economic conferences there when I lived in there, and I would attend those. Many of them open to the public, and I would go there. And they have Chinese agents at all of the universities, and infiltrated into the planning departments and buying all of this manuals and technology planning guides from the different political offices in parliaments and state department, state governments in every state across America, and from all of these universities on their technology, education, and dissemination plans and everything, and they get all of these documents. I mean, it's surprising the level of planning that they get. Like, how are they able to get these documents? They bring them back in these huge conferences, bring political and business, governmental planning people from all over China to these big events in the major cities. And I attended these in Guangzhou, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chengdu, and other places. They bring all these people back, and then they show these up on the PowerPoint and on the slides and everything else. They literally show all these documents, planning documents from America, what they're planning, and then they start financing programs immediately in those events to repeat that and copy it and disseminate it across the country, and fund and finance all of these new factories immediately to copy all of that and build it across the country. I mean, it's a military speed, technological competition, which is both admirable and shocking how corrupt and thievery it is at the same time. But it is, I mean, if it's your job to compete on the world scale and do espionage, where the hell is I guess you just don't see that. Hopefully our intelligence agencies are doing that.
Nah, they're not doing it. They're doing it for them, for themselves. They're not doing it to help the citizens.
Right, and they're not financing out all of these factories all across.
They're financing Palantir to get more data on you, but that's about it.
Only their cartel elite insiders, only the Aardvarks, and yeah, that's very clear. It's very different, and then they're funding all of these venture capital companies, and America doesn't even have one state-funded venture capital company that I've ever heard of. There might be one, but I've never heard of that. And they're funding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, dozens and dozens.
We have the SBA, the Small Business Administration.
Yeah, but that's not venture capital. They don't touch anything until it's like $10,000 a month.
You got to already be operating. Yeah, you got to already be operating with positive cash flow. But they have no problem funding the I don't know, startups like Palantir, like Oracle. Go down the list. All these big techs are all funded by the government to start.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, I mean, military industrial complex.
Oh, sorry, they made it in their garage in their Harvard dorm room. Sorry.
Right. Intelligence agency stuff, military industrial complex stuff. This level coming out of the universities for these kind of programs, they're funding that. Giving them contracts.
But no legitimate free market enterprise, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to where we're on the economy. We got more current things, but this was I found this report interesting. U.S. taxpayers subsidize Coca-Cola. That's your high fructose corn syrup sugary drink that causes obesity and diabetes. It's called Fauci Health Food, otherwise known as. Well, U.S. taxpayers subsidize Coca-Cola $10 billion. Let's go to this report. Quite shocking. It's wrapped up in the Farm Bill, and it's under the guise of food stamps, essentially. And so let's go to this report and hear about this newly uncovered boondoggle. And then this begs the question, well, if this is going on with Coca-Cola, who I'm sure is paying lobbyists to go make sure that this is in the Farm Bill, then what else is going on? Because I'm sure every other multinational corporation has the lobbying money to make sure their money gets in these bills as well, hidden as health food for you. They don't say that. I added that.
Sounds fair to me. I mean, compared to the small businesses, what they get, hey, they get nothing. Sounds fair to me. The Coke, the biggest.
You got your choice. You got your choice. The duopoly. We love duopolies in America. Coke or Pepsi. You got your choice. Don't say you didn't have a choice.
Biggest corporations in the world. Hey, hand them all the taxpayer money, right?
They're in need, just like the universities. With all these big universities, the Ivy League, they all have $1 billion endowments and are pissed off that they're not going to get any more money. And it's like, well, you guys openly discriminate against whites and Asians. You are constantly putting out fake academic reports all over the place, just constantly lies, theft, corruption. But yeah, just hold on to your billions there and we'll cry for you. Here's the report about the old Coca-Cola boondoggle.
So Congress subsidizes Coca-Cola to the tune of about $10 billion of taxpayer money every single year. What are you talking about, Claire? I'm glad you asked. Let me explain. So we have this scam, otherwise known as the Farm Bill, which really should be known as the Food Stamp and Big Corporation Bill, passed by Congress.
I don't think we can play that. They're going to tag us for that copyright, but I'll read you what it said. Because they had, what is that? Alive by the Bee Gees playing in the background. They'll tag us for copyright. And so we're not even going to we're not playing that game. We're not going to get flagged. Anyway, Congress subsidized Coca-Cola to the tune of about $10 billion per year of taxpayer money every single year. We have the scam, otherwise known as the Farm Bill, which really should be known as the Food Stamp and Big Corporation Bill passed by Congress. The last one the Congress passed. The total amount was $428 billion with a B dollars, and 328 billion of the 428 billion went directly to food stamp recipients to SNAP. The government loads $328 billion of your tax money on EBT cards for SNAP recipients, and they go into the stores and they buy Coca-Cola products, Frito-Lay, Pepsi, and the like.
How are they ever going to survive without it, Sam?
It's Fauci health food. I don't know, but
you got to have that phosphorus in there. White phosphorus, sticky phosphorus in the napalm. You got to stick that to all of the cells of the poor goyim to make sure that they get autoimmunity, which is what it will cause and destroy. Right? Hey, nothing like some phosphoric acid in there.
But I'm sure they
cement. So it must be perfectly healthy for you to drink it every day.
I'm sure they have a miracle for that. So we don't have a problem. Coca-Cola gets between 5 to 20% of their annual revenue from taxpayer money. Wow. And so, yeah.
What could be better? I mean, we got to put the money somewhere. It can't go to those dirty startups. It certainly can't go to those dirty, filthy little startups, right?
So hell, fund Coca-Cola more, I guess. It's funny how Mexico has the real sugar. That's not good for you either, but I do believe it is better than the high fructose corn syrup that we have in our Coca-Cola here.
Even though everybody's missing the actual the big problem actually in Coke is what people are not talking about.
They took the cocaine out. That's the big problem.
No. The big problem is the phosphoric acid that's in there. The phosphates of phosphoric acid, and that's the big problem.
That's a preservative, right? And then that has all kinds of health issues, cancer and the like linked to it.
They claim it's a preservative. They claim it's in there for preservative purpose.
You want your high fructose corn syrup fresh, don't you?
Well, the phosphoric acid sticks to your cells, embeds itself in your cells and the cell membranes, and then connects to your long-chain fatty acids. So all of your oils, your seed oils, all of these toxic oils that you're eating with the fried food, plus the Coke and the phosphoric acid, and this will literally form the chemical called E. coli. E. coli, ecological lie. They lied that it's from ecology, but they make this in chemical vats. And this can combine and then cause a massive autoimmunity, which leads to inflammation, continuous inflammation inside of.
Sounds like a health conspiracy cooked up by big food here.
Yeah, and of course they know this is a very, very simple chemistry. They know this. They understand this. In fact, this was COVID 101.
They're helping kids to starve, Thomas. They're helping by handing out these EBT cards.
This was the first chemical weapons technology perfected in the 1880s period. E. coli, the ecological lie is from the ecology, E. coli, and then they showed the cartoon boogeyman, just like they do with the viruses. Show you these cartoon boogeymen of the little, it's a microorganism, yet it's actually a chemically produced molecules in these vats, and that's the 1.0 version of the mRNA technology. They built onto that And from that E. coli model came the DNA chemical weapons model, which is the 2.0 version. And then you could say that SARS-CoV-1 is the 3.0 version of the technology, and SARS-CoV-2 is the 4.0 version of the technology.
Keeping us healthy. That's the way they do it there at Congress. Well, at least they passed the Gulf of America Act in the House of Representatives. Okay, more on the economy. 58 crypto wallets have, let's take our halftime break and then we'll come back with more economic news. Then we'll get into the international geopolitics news of the day, as it looks like India and Pakistan are at war. If you're shooting at each other, then that's called a war, even though him and haw around it and call it other things than a war, defensive measures and the like, and operations. But India says they attacked terrorist camps in Pakistan, and Pakistan says they shot down some Indian jet fighters. So we'll get to that reporting after the live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com and you can get yourself some stickers over there. Weaponizednews.com stickers, the holograph sticker, the white background, and we have a clear background sticker as well. Put it on your laptop, your guitar, your bumper. We appreciate everybody giving us that support, or simply give us the donation. We do, and all of our subscribers as well. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. But right here, weaponizednews.com, and push the donate button, and you can help support this independent media broadcast. Let's go now to our sponsor, and then Thomas will come back and plug his company. Here is our sponsor, Abba Enterprises.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250.
Yes, I'm Thomas of Alpha Omega Energy. Alpha Omega Energy is the world's #1 breakthrough clean energy technology startup, and we're commercializing the world's #1 fuel cell, which is a new clean energy generator running 24 hours a day, completely clean electricity. Cost to produce electricity at only 6 to 10 cents per kilowatt in our early stage, and then we'll be decreasing the cost over time. This is a picture of Indonesia, which all throughout Southeast Asia, incredibly polluted and very low technology. They're now building 12 more coal-fired power stations to run a dirty nickel plant, completely polluting the entire Southeast Asian oceans region from this, and burning all of this massive piles of coal. That's going to use more or produce more CO2 than the entire country of Brazil. And here the climate change people are endlessly talking about how Brazil is producing all of this, and we need to save the forest, but then burn down the forest, but then chop down all of the forest to make freeways for their climate events and propaganda, to then burn them down, to chop them down, to chop them down and bury them under the ground, as Bill Gates wants to do. Totally insane. We need to stop the pollution. And then as they're mining and burning all of this, the pollution to the environment of real pollution, not the plant fertilizer, is actually really causing massive damage to the environment and the workers, very terrible health conditions. So we have a better solution. Our fuel cell is a water-based fuel cell. There's no pollution at all. Complete energy independence. There's no mining involved other than the manufacturing of our machines, of course. No benzene, none of these toxic metals or mining pollutions to run this. It's just to build the existing machine, and can be completely recycled. Will run for 30 years, no issues at all. No corrupt centralization, no need for grids, no toxic work environments, no atmospheric heating. And this is one thing that the climate changers never talk about when they try to lie that nuclear supposedly is renewable. nuclear creates more water vapor and more heat in the atmosphere than anything else. You're continuously heating up the water, superheating the water, and running these boiling steam turbines, and right, heating up the oceans, heating up the rivers, and then they lie that the oceans heating up is caused by CO2 when it's caused by these nuclear power plants, and they never talk about that. And of course, they'll never talk about that. And the increased water vapor that they're endlessly putting into the sky by running these steam turbines, that's causing more warming. And they don't talk about that either, right? It causes more warming in their model anyway. So no need for commodity imports, and no more climate lies, and none of the NGO money laundering, because the governments are certainly not going to give us $10 billion as they should. They're going to give it to Coke to poison all of the goyim. So if anybody wants to help change the world and contribute to something that's really meaningful for humanity, we are here and struggling to find little investors that we need to commercialize, or the finance that we need to commercialize. I have a couple leads. Hopefully it'll happen soon. Very eager to get it going. And I just met with some Christian businessmen here yesterday. We'll meet again on Thursday, who are pretty interested in piling on top after our commercialization is done, and even helping us to market to other investors. So that's nice, but they're not yet ready to do funding or finance right now. So the kind of the backlog, little army of people wanting to jump on top, licking their chops, licking their fingers at the opportunity, post commercialization is growing for us, which is that's good news. We just need to find the people that will help us to commercialize it. We're down to, the last money, 50,000 would finish it off completely, and then have plenty of room to spare. 35,000 would be more than enough, including our token, and showing this off to the world on 40 live streams every day, including on the Weaponized News Network. So if there's anybody out there that anyone knows that might want to support and contribute and maybe make their life and their family's life of financial freedom, please have them get in contact with me. Can DM me on my X account at AOE Breakthrough, or on Telegram at AOE Black Swan. And more trolls circling around, looking and whatnot. And we've even got, I even now have some psychologists from the CDC doing an investigation into myself, interestingly enough, stalking around, who've done all kinds of big investigations on people before at the highest levels. They're very interesting. So all of the health information that I've been breaking over the last few years and have done on Weaponized News, these people are looking into it very carefully, interestingly enough.
Crazy with a K. Okay, back to, everybody go to
Steens, no less. Steens as well.
The most trusted group of
the
people
most trusted
out there.
names in science. Yes.
Okay, back to the economy. 58 crypto wallets. We've been reporting on the scams. Be careful, because there's a lot of scams out there. And your number one con man in America, President Trump, 58 crypto wallets have made millions on Trump's meme coin, while 764,000 have lost money, data shows. So I don't know. These are hella good traders like Pelosi and the rest of Congress, or they have some inside information. I'm just saying. 58. That is your DEI. It's now transferred into crypto investments, apparently. The sign is $ Trump. You can see right here. Oh, you can't see it. Let me scroll up a little bit. That's the call signal for it. The Trump event set for, and that's that's in our very gaudy thumbnail here. This is the Trump event. Trump put this out. It looks so gaudy and fake that you're like, oh, somebody just made. No, this is official from Trump, right? And so that's referring to this. The Trump event set for May 22nd at Trump National Golf Club in Washington, D.C. includes a reception for the 25 wallets with the largest balance along with the White House tour. Almost sounds, if I didn't know better, I would say they're doing pay for play, influence peddling, but of course we know the honest Trump administration, making America great, would never engage in such tactics as selling power for influence, for money. You know, they wouldn't do such.
And you notice they don't say, of course, the CNBC doesn't say whose 58 wallets those are, as if they don't know, right? As if they don't know.
They do not say. That was a little bit too deep of a dive for them, but it is interesting.
Right. Just like and it'll be the same names as the Epstein client list people. And you're right. And of course, Lutnick will be one of them, and all of their pals, of course. Those guys doing this, all of the insiders on the Trump team, of course, those are your 58 wallets, and everybody else lost money, right?
One hell of an investment if you can get that information ahead of time. Global shipping is grinding to a standstill. Barron's reports it's a matter of time until America feels it. And so is this true? Is this hype by the mainstream? It's hard to tell. There aren't shortages of goods in U.S. stores yet, but if the deterioration of global shipping is any indication, they are on the way. That could complicate the White House's plea for Americans to be patient as trade officials rush to strike dozens of deals. Cargo has dropped or is expected to at major ports, including those of Los Angeles, Long Beach, California, and New York, New Jersey, primarily on shipments from China, which exports more than any other country to America. So we're at the beginning of it, potentially. CNN, another one. Can you trust them? It's hard to. The first boats carrying Chinese goods with 145% tariffs are arriving at LA shipments are cut in half. Expect shortages soon. But again, I guess they're reporting the truth. I don't know. It's hard to tell. We can't trust any of these reports unless I guess we should try to find reports directly from somebody working at the port. Maybe if we could even trust them at this point. But that's what they're reporting. Unless there's a deal struck with China, expect shortages on American shelves. What do you say about this, Thomas?
Well, you don't have Peter Buttigieg as the transport secretary anymore.
I do miss him, and I do miss our Rear Admiral, Dr. Dick Levine, as well, to give health advice.
Right. Dr. Dick Levine and Peter Buttigieg and his shadow app from Packronym and Acronym that literally deleted all of the votes in the Joe Crimeton and Peter Buttigieg race there in Iowa. You don't have that going on. So you don't have Peter Buttigieg's orchestrated supply chain shortages, closing up the ports, etc. anymore. Driving up the prices.
Now Trump's orchestrated supply chain disruptions.
Right, exactly, and he's just charging China. So they right, the deep state kept it going, and it's just one fake actor versus another fake actor, and just a different story, blinding everybody like as if there's anything else different going on. And they're just running up the costs on all of the poor Goyim slaves. Increasing their costs, increasing their profits, and bankrupting more of the small businesses and putting them out. But I do have a bunch of economic figures here if you want to pull
Hold
up.
on, I got two more stories and then we'll get to yours. So this birthday for your children, whatever holiday, Christmas is coming up here in another 7 months. Mattel CEO says, oh, we got feedback there. Mattel CEO says toy manufacturing won't come to America, but price hikes will. Mattel CEO Jan Kurz told CNBC he does not foresee toy manufacturing coming to America. And so American children wouldn't have it any other way than third world child labor making their toys. By the end of the year, less than 40% of Mattel's product will be sourced from China, with a goal of reducing that to below 25% in the next 2 years. So as we continue to report here, you can have 2 dolls at Christmas instead of 30. Last report, and this is what I continue to harp on, is that at some point the debt is going to be unsustainable here in America, and the old Secretary of Treasury agrees, according to reporting out of the UK Telegraph. U.S. debt on unsustainable path amidst Scott Bassett. And so, shockingly enough, what is painfully obvious, we need to get the national debt under some type of control. Starts with government spending, and they don't seem to really give a care about that with the fake Doge savings and $1 trillion committed to war spending. And what do we just report? 10 billion to Coca-Cola. So, and just pick your pork belly spending, and it seems like Congress does not care about the national debt. Maybe they have some other plan that the Treasury Secretary and the rest of us are not aware of.
Okay. Yet they all understand investing completely to the point that they're all doing this.
They're all billionaires out of it, yeah.
Right. So they understand this completely, and they're all leveraging themselves to the tits, doing options, doing call options, doing all of these leveraged products.
All the derivatives out there, yeah.
Right, to invest with. They understand using conservative leverage, using debt, right, at very cheap interest rates, and they all have Lutnick has literal access to the Federal Reserve discount rate window, and he pulls all of this money to give to Elon Musk at very right.
So does Carney, I would bet. I'd be willing to bet. You know?
Right, they get all
these
of this
bankers
money, and then they invest and they buy up all the stocks, and BlackRock is buying up all of the stocks. They're investing. They understand this, but then there's this massive psyop played on the public that, oh, the debt's unsustainable. We can't have any more of this. As the corporations are making record profits, these huge companies making money hand over fist, and right, but they push this rhetoric, this fraud, so that they get support from the people to not print any more money, to actually invest to you, the citizens, and invest to you, the small business people, and invest to the small companies, and invest to American manufacturing. There's so much scarcity. We can't have any more of this, you see. So only the money can go to the elites and can go to Coca-Cola and these big corporations, and there's nothing left. It's on an unsustainable path. We need to even close down the supply of money. We need to give you less financing to you little slave goyim. We can't have that, you see. We got to tighten the screws on you and skyrocket the prices, and right, to make the supplies less available for you, and close down the channel so only the big corporations can actually operate, to make it more costly and more cost prohibitive with more regulations and tariffs.
That's American free trade.
This is, yeah, right. And right, freedom of commerce and whatnot. And then you need vax passes.
And create monopolies to create the barriers to entry so high so you can't even enter the market. And that's the way we roll here. And then scream at you, you can't have anything, everything goes to the bank. One last report.
And then lie it's capitalism, and the capitalism is the problem. The free market is the problem.
Free market has failed when we don't even have a free market. Okay. Last economic news, then we'll get to your economic news. UK-India sealed trade deal amid fallout over Trump tariffs. And so India and the UK agreed to a landmark trade deal slashing tariffs on cosmetics, vehicles, alcoholic beverages, and other goods as both sides look for wins to offset the disruption of Trump's protectionist policies. So that's kind of a big deal. I don't know. I thought you would think India, well, countries seem to get over their grudges quite quickly when it comes to economics. Okay, what's your economic news? We'll put it on the screen here.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through the actual data. This is the economic calendar of all of the economic actual data, so we can see what's actually going on in the economy recently. So here we have Tuesday here, today. We had a 3-year note auctioning off government bonds. The interest rates are going up a little bit, less demand, so they're paying a little bit more. Bond sales have been a little bit weak recently, but the logistics managers index is up That's quite favorable. Trade balance is actually sinking. It's getting a little bit worse, actually. Imports are even higher than the previous month by $18 billion. So mainstream news reporting that imports are going down and there's less shipments and this kind of stuff, but the actual economic data is showing the total opposite than that. Almost a $20 billion increase in imports month over month. So it's in a complete conflict to what the mainstream media is actually telling everybody. And exports are up $500 million as well. The Red Book value on manufacturing is up significantly, which is really good. Economic optimism index is down a bit. The 10-year note auction came in better. That was just finished at 4.3% versus 4.4%. And you had all of these mainstream media people crying, going crazy, saying, oh, the 10-year is skyrocketing, the rates are skyrocketing like never before. And you have it down in the last month, almost 0.1%. So will they actually scream that it's going down too fast, going down at record prices? You're not going to see that. It's a one-sided propaganda campaign again, right? Blame Trump, hate what's going on. Dollar doom, hate America. Oh, there's going to be a bankruptcy. It's so asinine. It's just propaganda on the people. And the government could at any time, the Fed could refinance 100% of all of the debt in America if they're willing to give a federal discount rate window, right, off the federal printing, super cheap, lower than the prime rate to these big investment banks. They could just extend that at the same rate and buy all of the debt and do a refinance. Everybody else does a refinance. They take out a home equity loan and pay off all the credit card debt, all the car loans, everything else, save thousands a month in interest. When the hell is America going to do this? I mean,
but you know, it's never for the people's interest. It's for the private central bank cartel's interest.
Right. So all of this bullshit lies that they tell you that supposedly the debt's unsustainable and this kind of thing. No, it's not.
No, it is because they refuse to refinance it. They won't.
Well, even the way things are right now, they can continue doing what they're doing, and at this level, they will be fine. They can continue this for an incredibly long period of time, and how much they're printing. You have to print that much just to grow the economy to get the GDP at 2 to 3% per year. In order for that to happen, you have to have 2 to 3% more cash in the economy every year in order to have 2 to 3% more GDP growth. In the first place, you have to have more people and more cash in order for that economy to actually function. So you have to have printing every year, and they don't teach you this. It's just it's the most asinine delusion, and it's just mass formation psychosis that they're brainwashing people. And when you look at oil stocks here are drawing down massively. Almost $5 million drawdown, a reduction in the amount of crude oil stock in just a single month. It is huge, way more than consensus, almost 100% more than consensus. So the oil stocks are drawing down, I guess, which is, keep prices a little bit high. But on the international market, OPEC is flooding the market with oil. And we might even see again, where is this one here? I'll switch over. We might even see, possibly, if OPEC continues this, we might see oil in America go back down to zero. And OPEC does not want America to compete on that. Let me change windows here. I want to show people and remind them that oil actually literally went to $0. It went to $0 before. So I will pull that up here. We'll show people that. But people forget about that, and they wonder, how did this happen? Well, OPEC wants to destroy American oil producers. They want to make sure that the American oil producers cannot make money and that they bankrupt them and keep them out of the market. There it is. And so the way that they do this is they can flood the market with oil, which is what they're doing right now. And then you have America drawing this down, trying to prevent it from happening. But here's your chart. And you had oil prices in this is 2020, spring of 2020. And they had to do something into COVID time, right? April to May, March, April, May. So you had the lockdowns just beginning here. And oil literally went to not only zero, here's the zero line. Oil went to, this is West Texas Intermediate crude, it went to minus $39 a barrel. They would literally pay you $40 a barrel to take it away.
See, prison, if we put the planet in prison on lockdown, it's good for the environment. So lock it down again.
Right. So they could orchestrate these kind of things really whenever they want to. And they they kept their mouth shut. And there were even, like there was people that we interviewed. There was a New York mayoral candidate that we interviewed on Weaponized News I brought on here. And when I was bringing all the politicians on during those elections, and he was lying that this never happened. He was lying that oil never went to $0 a barrel. And he was really pissed off. He even blocked me on X over it. He cancel cultured me over that I was saying this. It's just that it never happened. And so this is... people need to accept all of this brainwashing on the miracles, on everything else that you've seen, but you think that they're telling the truth, and the one-sided propaganda on the printing and the lack and scarcity and the debt and gold, that magically this is the one issue that where it's totally a one-sided echo chamber. Well, that's got to be correct. I mean, it's just folks. They're frauding everybody. They're writing. They always write both sides: A scam, B scam, and they do a C scam as well. And you have a one-sided issue on this debt thing, right? Now, why don't they print $100 trillion tomorrow, refinance all of the debt that we have, right? This whatever it is, refinance it all to much lower, because Americans and the American government is loaning money to Americans. We can do an internal refinance and then fund all of the startups, fund all of the technology innovators, fund all of these seized technology innovators, fund all the companies to go internationally and expand. You got
because let me tell you why, Thomas. Because as
4 billion people don't even have electricity.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because as John
finance them to build and take the whole world market.
Let me tell you why. Because as John D. Rockefeller told us, competition is a sin. All right.
So we're all.
And so that's exactly why.
You're all to believe that the debt's unsustainable because they don't want to develop the economies of these other countries. They want them to die. They want.
It is unsustainable because they're making it that way. I agree with you. They could do a lot of things, like you say. They could say, "Hey, we're not giving these crooks access to the discount window, but yet they're all in the club and we ain't in it." Okay, we got geopolitical news to move on to the India. Here's Trump's comments on India, Pakistan, as that is heating up today with multiple attacks by both countries upon each other.
Any questions for Steve?
President, have any reaction to the attacks between India and Pakistan?
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. You know, they've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
Is it going to end quickly? I don't know. Let's here's the press release put out by India's defense Ministry of Defense. They say Operation Sindoor, Indian armed forces carried out precision strike at terrorist camps. A little while ago, the Indian armed forces launched Operation Sindoor, hitting terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, from where terrorist attacks against India have been planned and directed. Altogether, 9 sites have been targeted. Our actions have been focused, measured, and non-escalatory in nature. No Pakistan military facilities have been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selection of targets and method of execution. These steps come in the wake of the barbaric Pahalgam terrorist attack, in which 25 Indians and one Nepalese citizen were murdered. We are living up to the commitment that those responsible for this attack will be held accountable. There will be detailed briefing on Operation Sindoor later today. And then continuing here, India strikes 9, as we just reported in the press release. But then here somewhere on The Guardian, they were doing live reporting. Did we miss it? Where they said that Pakistan says it shot down 2 Indian jets. There you go, reporting from The Guardian. So that sounds like a war to me, Thomas. I don't know.
Well,
what do you think?
Hey, Justin Trudeau's best friend, Peter Daglish, who, he's just fine. He didn't die as a Nepali there up in that region when he was over there raping the children in Nepal. So, and he was a good friend of Mark Carney, too. So isn't that interesting?
We're going to get that Epstein list any day now, Thomas. All right.
Yeah.
Any day now. So there you go. 4 hours ago, Pakistan says it shot down 2 Indian jets. Pakistan Air Force has shot down 2 Indian jets in retaliation for strikes on Pakistani administered territory, according to Pakistani security sources. So sounds like they're escalating things there quite a bit. Okay. What else do we get?
I'm just waiting for that $85 billion in arms in Afghanistan that was left there by Joe Crimeton. I'm just waiting for that to be used and smuggled over into, some terrorists in Pakistan to be used.
It'll be used to kill people all around the third world, which was
What's
intended.
going to happen with that? When are we going to see the action there? I mean, it's coming. That's coming too. Of course, that's going to be Trump administration time. Over the next 4 years, 85 billion of arms is going to be launched against something, against somebody.
I'm sure it's fine. Okay, continuing let's hear now from our favorite CEO, Alex Karp, Palantir, where he's confronted by pro-Palestinian, dare I say, Hamas sympathizers, protests who accuse him of helping the IDF target innocent civilians in Gaza. He responds with, "That's true, but they're mostly terrorists, so I mean it's acceptable." And we're in the year 25 of the war on terror since 9/11, and so we can't seem to kill those pesky terrorists, but we can kill plenty of civilians, women, and children all around the world.
Palantir kills Palestinians with their AI and technology.
Oh.
They're killing my family in Palestine.
Yeah. And you know.
How do you sleep at night?
Well, if you. Do you want to hear my answer?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I think the primary cause of death to Palestinians. Okay. Do you want to hear the answer, or do you want to yell? Well, you don't want to hear an answer? Obviously. So the primary source of death in Palestine is the fact that Hamas has realized that there are millions and millions of useful idiots that will.
Can we get security up there?
Okay. One of the most. Okay. Mostly terrorists. That's true.
No, it's not. If you say mostly, so it's okay to kill.
Okay. Look, if your argument was so strong, wouldn't you let me talk? It's so strong. It's so strong. It's so strong. Your argument is okay. That's. Thank you for. The pain of Palestinians is something that everybody and anyone who dies in war, obviously people care about. I care about that. The obvious solution to war is to have the West having the strongest, most precise, deadly weapons possible so that we can minimize unnecessary innocent deaths. And by the way, the primary way you minimize these deaths
is you're so strong no one attacks you. And that's how you actually do it. Now, there are many sides to this debate, but, you know, one of the things that's really frustrating in the West, honestly, is I kind of call it, I spent a lot of my life in Germany. I'm kind of pro-German culture, especially where it actually works, which you could argue in many ways it's not. But it's like what I would call probably incorrectly, the greenification of our society, which is, you know, we kind of all support something like climate. I think most people support regulated immigration. You have 20% of your society in Germany who are just radical to the point where the ideas make no sense, but they 100% believe, and then they end up controlling the policies of the whole society. I believe, she believes I'm evil. I believe she's an unwitting product of an evil force, Hamas. That she unwittingly is part of their strategy, that she is a product.
These protesters are using our democracy to attack our system of government, and we support their freedom of expression, but it's important to remember that the freedoms they enjoy here, they would never be able to cause this circus in Gaza. And so it's important to keep that in mind.
I agree with them on that point, but then they never pull back and zoom out and say, well, who's pulling the strings on Hamas? Well, Western intelligence, of course, and it was created by Aardvark land. And so, of course, they are puppets of Hamas, puppeteered by Palantir intelligence sitting on top of it all as part of the whole depopulation, ethnic cleansing, genocide
orchestrated
program.
by Hamas, who has no TV stations, who has no media at all, is just a pile of ash as far as the eye can see. But there's all of these terrorists orchestrating everything you see, and there's just endless numbers of them coming out of the
There
ash.
are useful idiots radicalized by UK intelligence, 100%. They've been doing it a very long time. They know what they're doing. Here's more reporting. A rare phone call between the two most evil men in the world, Vladimir Putin and Bibi Netanyahu. A rare phone call between the two today. Oh, wait, we love Bibi, but we hate Putin. All right, YouTube. But wait a minute. It's so confusing. Anyway, they exchanged warm congratulations on the 80th anniversary of the Great Victory, both determined to defend truth about World War II, emphasized decisive contribution of the Red Army to defeat Nazism, and discussed the Middle East situation. And so it was a very warm and fuzzy phone call between the two. But you don't hear Russia constantly screaming 6 million. They lost way more than 6 million in World War II, and you never hear Russia complaining about it at all. But I guess they're not the privileged supremacists that some find themselves in the position of. Tucker Carlson says he called the Aardvark government to please stop calling him an anti-Semite. So he has a direct line to the Aardvark government. Let's hear this clip.
I have been like attacked in ways that are so crazy that and it's totally coordinated from Israel. So I finally, the other day, I called someone I know in the Israeli government. There are like some great people in the Israeli government. I called one of them and I said, you know, stop this. Like, I am not your enemy. You don't think you have enough enemies? Yeah. What? You have like real enemies. I've gone out of my way. And by the way,
we're looking for that. We didn't see the little red string in that clip, but he does wear it quite a bit. So the Houthis were able to penetrate the Iron Dome, allegedly, and this is what has got Aardvark land all pissed off. Let's watch this video. But we showed the video of the alleged strike near the Aardvark airport, and it was just a hole in the ground. Let's watch this video and see if we can tell how they penetrated the vaunted Iron Dome.
It was a startling moment in the ongoing regional tensions when the Houthi launched what they called the Palestine II missile, a hypersonic ballistic weapon reportedly capable of reaching speeds as high as Mach 16. At such blistering velocity, the missile was able to travel from Yemen to Israel in mere minutes, giving Israeli and allied defense systems very little time to react. What made this strike even more concerning was the missile's apparent ability to change course mid-flight, a capability likely achieved through a sophisticated skip gliding mechanism. This means that rather than following a traditional predictable arc, The missile could bounce along the edge of the atmosphere, shifting its trajectory in a way that complicates interception. Experts believe the missile wasn't purely hypersonic in the conventional sense, but had characteristics of what some call a semi-hypersonic design. This would still allow for sharp maneuvers during flight, far beyond what older ballistic models could manage. These kinds of mid-air changes wreak havoc on systems like Israel's Arrow 3 and the US-developed THAAD, which are built to predict and intercept based on expected flight paths. Additionally, there's speculation that the missile may have taken a lower-than-usual flight route, potentially slipping under the radar coverage that usually defends against high-altitude threats.
So if we're to believe any of this,
that's a lot of speculation. For we can detect anything in the entire atmosphere the size of a baseball. Remember all of that?
The size of a dime. Okay, Trump today, he declares an end to U.S. strikes on the Houthis, claiming they've conceded defeat and promised to stop attacking ships. They just don't want to fight anymore. Really? Have you seen? We play like every other week the million-man Houthi marches in Yemen. It seems like they're still up for a fight. I don't know.
We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings. And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think that's very, very positive. They were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas. It wasn't just the canal. It was a lot of other places. And I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately.
But you don't worry, because guess who's going to pick up the slack? It's going to be Aardvarks. So they say, but then you got this other report, another Houthi guy. So who's really running stuff over there? This Houthi guy, Houthi spokesman, Mohammed Allah Houthi, has rejected Trump's claim that the group has surrendered or agreed to stop Red Sea attacks, calling the U.S. president's statement inaccurate. So I don't know, another one of these fog of war things. Who are we to believe? Is this guy some kind of shot caller in it? Who knows? Another propagandist? Who knows? But don't you worry. 20 Aardvark fighter jets strike in Yemen after Houthis missile hits Ben Gurion Airport. And so don't you worry. America stopped bombing them, but Aardvarks picked up the slack real quick. IDF says 50 munitions dropped on Houdihan port nearby concrete factory in a blow to Houthi economic and military. Aardvark officials attack coordinated with U.S. And there's some video of it. Something blew up there. Somebody blew up something, because there's a lot of video of big explosions and the like. So, yeah.
Big concrete factory is what they were saying about that. Some of them might have a lot of fuel there. You know, if it's a oil-based economy, they might have a lot of oil there to run their own power station, to run the concrete mixers there. It's possible.
Aardvarks say that it disabled Yemen's main airport with airstrikes against rebels. They do create a big fire cloud there. That's for sure. Today, Aardvark military.
It's great for the environment.
It is. It's eco-friendly bombs because they're from Aardvark land.
Now Bill Gates doesn't need to spray the sky because they bombed Vegas. They just
They can block out the sun with smoke from explosions. Earlier today, Aardvarks launched airstrikes against, and the AP, bless their heart, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen that has said fully disabled the international airport in the Yemeni capital of Sana'a. The strikes came hours before President Trump said he would work to stop airstrikes against the Houthis. So maybe it's all good now, and I guess we got ahead of it, and it's all peaceful there now. Here's a video of the strikes on the concrete factory from NBC News, actually. So it's not that bad. It's kind of bad. So, as you can see, environmentally friendly, anything to block out the sun.
Looks a little bit more chemical and refinery there than your standard concrete factory, actually.
That black smoke did look pretty damn toxic.
And something burning there, which is not so typical of concrete plants.
Let's hear now from our shadow president, Bibi, warning to Yemen, the Iranian octopus. Isn't that funny that he would use that terminology when everyone is familiar with the aardvark octopus? This has subtitles because he has something in his throat, apparently. But let me take away our graphic, and then we can hear all about what our dear leader has to say here.
אמרתי פעמים רבות שמי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל תעמוד בראשו. אתמול אמרתי שהתקיפה של החות'ים תענה לא בזבנג וגמרנו, אלא בזבנגים. אז אתמול נתנו זבנג, מכה קשה, לנמל חודדה. היום מטוסינו תקפו את שדה התעופה בסנה, שדה התעופה שמאפשר את צבא הטרור ואת הכניסה האווירית למדינת הטרור, שמאפשרת את ירי הטילים נגדנו. הבחירה שלנו מתי להגיב, איך להגיב ועל איזה מטרות להגיב, זה שיקול שאנחנו עושים כל פעם, וזה נוגע גם לפטרון של החות'ים, איראן, שבלעדי האישור שלהם והתמיכה שלהם, לאורך זמן החות'ים לא יכולים לקיים את מתקפת הטילים הנפשעת עלינו. הנשיא טראמפ אמר את זה לפני חודש וחצי, אני אומר את זה גם היום. אנחנו נבוא חשבון עם כל מי שתוקף את מדינת ישראל. ואני רוצה לברך בהזדמנות זאת את הרמטכ"ל, אותך מח"א, את המודיעין, את צוותי האוויר והקרקע המופלאים שלנו, הטייסים הנהדרים שלנו, וכל מי שמסייע באדם. ברכות על ביצוע מושלם.
ארגון הטרור החות'י ניסה לפגוע בנמל התעופה בן גוריון, ובתגובה השמדנו היום את שדה התעופה בצנעא. בנוסף פגענו גם במטרות נוספות, בהמשך לתקיפות אתמול בנמל חודדה ובתשתיות לאומיות נוספות שפגענו בהן. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו נפגע בו שבעתיים. זה גם מסר אזהרה לראש התמנון האיראני. אתם נושאים באחריות ישירה לכל מתקפה של זרוע התמנון החות'ית כנגד מדינת ישראל, ואתם גם תישאו במלוא התוצאות.
I don't think it's going to stop because they said due to the blockade, but I guess if they're herding them all out of there, and maybe there won't be any more blockade because they're going to deport them all, ethnically cleanse them all, kill them all, maybe.
Yeah, they're calling for on the Israel news openly. They're calling, the main people there are calling for the total removal of all of the people in Gaza, millions.
They've said they are. They said yesterday they announced they're seizing all the land, Gaza Strip, all occupied territory. They will stay indefinitely. And then there's a back and forth. Will Trump go to, because he's scheduled to go to Saudi Arabia and meet up with a bunch of leaders, trade deals, and do a bunch of puppet shows. And so they want him to go to Aardvark land, but then one report here says that he will be going there, and then another report says Trump says he has not planned to visit Aardvark land as part of his upcoming trip there to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Conflicting reports, one from, and this is all mainstream, UPI says he will go. Reuters says he won't. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see if Trump will kiss that wall one more time. Let's hear now final report on the ongoing genocide ethnic cleansing program there in Aardvark land. Aardvark's new Gaza campaign will follow the Rafah model, mass airstrikes and destruction of infrastructure. IDF spokesman. Let's hear from him now. So they're very, and everybody don't likes a terrorist too, by the way, if I didn't tell you that already.
אני נמצא פה בסמוך לגבול רצועת עזה. אנחנו נמצאים היום 49 ימים לפתיחת מבצע עוז וחרב, שתכליתו הגברת הלחץ על חמאס על מנת להביאו למשא ומתן לשחרור חטופים. למבצע הישגים רבים, חיסול בכירים, פתיחת מסדרון מורג, פגיעה משמעותית בתשתיות, השמדת חטיבת רפיח והשתלטות מלאה על המרחב בין פילדלפי למורג. על אף כל ההישגים, חמאס נשאר סרבן בעמדתו. יש לנו תוכנית סדורה. אנחנו מתקדמים ועוברים לשלב חדש ועצים יותר, מבצע מרכבות גדעון. תכלית המבצע היא החזרת חטופינו, מיטוט והכנעת שלטון חמאס. אלו שתי מטרות השלובות זו בזו. המבצע יכלול מתקפה רחבה, הכוללת הנאה של מרבית אוכלוסיית הרצועה. זאת על מנת להגן עליה באזור סטרילי מחמאס. המשך תקיפות אוויריות, חיסול מחבלים ופירוק תשתיות. אנחנו נחזור על המודל שבוצע ברפיח גם באזורים נוספים ברצועה. לטובת המבצע בוצע גיוס מילואים נרחב. הוצאנו צווים לעשרות אלפי אנשי מילואים. הגיוס בוצע לאחר ניתוח מדויק של הצרכים, ומתוך הבנה עמוקה של העומס על אנשינו.
They're keeping them safe with ethnic cleansing and bombing programs. So
right, and they're endlessly talking about what the surgical strikes that they can do, the surgical strikes on the airport.
But there always seems to be women and children caught up in these surgical strikes.
Right, but the surgical strikes on all kinds
of hospitals, on paramedics, on doctors, on journalists, on aid workers. Those are, hey, come on, they were all working for Hamas, 6 degrees of separation. We saw their AI software connect them somewhere, some way. They talked to somebody that knew Hamas, and that's good enough to call them a terrorist and kill them. And so that's where we're at, literally. That's where we're at.
But yet, nobody's like noticing for some strange reason. They can't figure out where Hamas actually is.
Well, they're everywhere. Hamas is an idea. And somebody at the IDF, I forget even who, admitted way back, I don't know, months ago, that you can never defeat the idea of Hamas. And so it's an idea.
They carpet bomb the entire place to nothing but ashes, and they magically can't find them. They're magically.
Well, you can't. Ideas are bulletproof, Thomas. Ideas are bulletproof.
Magically evading the entire network of the internet, all phones, all communication systems. I guess that they're hiding in some magical cave somewhere inside of this fenced-off concentration.
The tunnels. They have tunnels there. They have tunnels.
No, miraculously, they're able to hide from all of them after all of this time, and they can't find them. So you could notice the body language of this guy and what he's saying, and his facial expression and everything. He's literally disgusted that he's telling these lies. He knows that they're lies. Well,
he said it's a humanitarian catastrophe, and they're doing their best.
But he's saying it, and he's going along with it, and he's doing it. But he's disgusted by it. But he's going along with it, lying that they're moving them to shield them from them going in to get Hamas, right? which, right, I guess Hamas is hiding in the rubble pile, and then they're just going to destroy all of this and everything else. And
No, he said it's about the hostages and keeping everybody safe, but it's always been about the real estate
They have no
redevelopment
idea where the
plan.
hostages even are, right? They can't show anybody. They're not showing anybody. They don't know where they
No,
are.
we know they've implemented the Hannibal doctrine, which is kill your own hostages rather than have them taken hostage and even have to negotiate with them. That's a waste of our freaking time. And they did it on October 7th, and they continue to do it. It's been a long-standing policy of the Aardvark government. 100% confirmed. That happens. It's going on. And yeah, they don't care about the hostages, as old Smotrich told us, Ben Gavir told us, Bibi told us, and so on and so on and so on. As we've reported here, the entire time, it was never about the hostages. It was always about Greater Aardvark Land Project and trying to fulfill. And in the background too, they have the weird Christian Zionist end of the world prophecy that they want to fulfill, build a third temple on the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And all of this nonsense is also going on in the background, driven by religious radicals. That's your other side of the useful idiots that are fueling the Aardvark side of the campaign. Okay, friends, that's all the time we have on YouTube, because we got to go into the bat stuff that I promised earlier, and YouTube will not allow it due to community guideline restrictions. And so for those of you on the YouTube, jump over to Rumble, Odysee, X, Facebook. Facebook's doing all right. You know what I mean? We're shadow banned into oblivion, but they really don't. They let you say, because Zuckerberg's a bro now, remember? And so they'll still shadow ban you, but they won't outright ban you and put you in Facebook jail and all this nonsense. They did remove the fact checkers, and I challenge everybody to fact check everything I say. And go do your own research about all the reporting that we do here at Weaponized News. Anyhow, we're signing off of YouTube, and we're going to go into our bat reporting, the recent developments this week. It looks like the establishment, the United States of America, is trying to close the book on the whole episode of the last 5 years here. And so we're going to get to that with a signing off of YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on YouTube and the chat. Now, we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Wednesday edition